Remember when you said to my mom, this was like the best compliment ever, that you're in the land of milk and honey at my house?
Yeah.
I almost said, cheers to the land of milk and honey and sourdough.
Yeah, she was the one who said when she drives up the hill, it's just like, as soon as you see the house, like, oh, oh. Like, yeah, it's the promised land. It's the land of milk and honey.
Cheers to, then, the land of milk and honey and sourdough
Okay,
and
okay.
homesteading.
Cheers to all those things.
So you're drinking a big old glass of raw milk.
Just straight up raw milk, right out the mason jar.
Mine is just raw milk, honey, and matcha. That's the only ingredients in here. Cinnamon on top. And
Yes.
I want to talk about today how raw milk and sourdough are the gateway to homesteading. Because I never saw myself as a homesteader. I never even cared about gardening, farmers markets, farming, having animals.
F-R-A.
Having farm animals, never could have seen it for myself. But
To be fair, we're not 100% there yet.
but we're getting
But it's
there.
in the works, yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah, it is
fast. And we've already changed so much, and
The barn will be here in about a week and a half.
it all kicked off when I started making sourdough bread. And then it was like, oh,
Very cliche.
if I can make bread, what else can I do?
Yeah.
And then we found raw milk, and you could start making cheese. We've talked about this. You can make everything, almost every food, with bread and milk.
Yeah, pretty
Mostly.
much. Yeah. Butter,
And
cream
then it was like,
cheese,
how can I get this milk from my own cow? We found a farm where we partnered with where it's like we lease our own cow.
Yeah.
But then it's like, well, I want to have my own goats and cows and chicken eggs. Like all of that happened
Yeah.
because of those two things, sourdough and raw milk.
Yeah.
So I was surprised that like raw milk was so controversial. Did you know that it was?
I didn't really know much about it, honestly. I mean, I knew it was a thing. Like, if you asked me, no one really thinks about it. But yeah, I didn't know it was controversial. I thought it was something that it was kind of like hard to get. But I had never like heard any of the arguments. But like now, after we get it, anytime you talk to anyone about it, it's either they're all for it or they're like, oh, my wife won't let my kids have this because allegedly some kids got a bad batch 8 years ago and died or something, like, or got sick or whatever. So I don't know. People have, I guess, a tainted view of it. I don't understand why. If I had to guess, maybe it has something to do with like everyone is kind of so accustomed to long shelf lives of anything and everything. And so when they're presented with like a product that if it sits out for more than an hour, it's bad. If it sits in your fridge for more than a week, it's probably going to go bad. If you're not touching it, if you don't do anything with it, it's not like a bottle of or a jug of regular milk that you would get from any grocery store that it can last for 2 or 3 weeks sometimes. Or
But the thing that is surprising me, the more we have raw milk and the more we work with it and have it like every day, like when we're making, like to make cottage cheese or to make yogurt, all you do is you leave milk sitting out in a warm place.
yeah,
And that's like all you do. And so that's basically spoiling, but it's magical because it like re-ferments and creates a new food if it's good quality milk. The problem is not like someone drank spoiled milk and then they died. The problem is if you did not pasteurize the factory farm cows, they're all sick. So like
Yeah.
if the cow is sick, it doesn't matter if you drank it fresh that day or you drank it after it's been sitting out for 4 weeks. If it's from a sick cow, it's not good.
yeah. And I don't know. I just think a lot of any of that comes down to, like I said, the simple fact that people in the last, I don't know, 50 years or so, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, have grown so accustomed to pretty like essentially what they do just with like milk alone is like they suck all the natural nutrients out of it because it's a low quality milk, and then they input the same nutrients, but it's like a artificial version. So they'll put the calcium back in it. They'll put these vitamins and this and that, and it's technically good, safe to drink now because it's not raw milk. It's like, well, yeah, because the raw milk that was there was not a good quality raw milk.
Yes.
So I just think people have a skewed version of what it is and the benefits, and I don't know. I just think people just aren't as educated on it as they think they are.
Well, also, like, our culture, like, my whole thing with it is I never even heard of raw milk because I thought all dairy was disgusting and bad for you. So I went like 5 years and never ate any dairy because I thought it just makes you fat. Like, it's demonized as like an unhealthy product in
Yeah,
like
it can be.
diet culture, I guess.
Yeah, and when you kind of get past the facade of everything, you get down to it, it's mostly because, like, people want to, oh, I got these stomach issues, I'm lactose intolerant, I'm this and that. It's not, at least in my opinion, I'm not educated on this topic, but at least from what I've seen, I would be lactose intolerant too if I was drinking that low quality artificial vitamins and minerals and everything else in this just nasty milk that you got from a cow that's sick and eating nothing but garbage and living in a prison cell.
Well, the same thing's happening with bread and flour. And this is why everybody's gluten-free and dairy-free, because the dairy is literally burnt to shreds, and then they put synthetic vitamins into it that messes with people's stomach, I think.
Yeah.
Then
It's all the same. Yeah.
The bread is literally sprayed, obviously, glyphosate, and then sifted into, so they get rid of almost all the flour, so it's pure white. And so they sift out all the nutrients, and then they add in these synthetic vitamins.
Yeah.
And all of that whole process makes people sick. And that's why either you don't notice it and you push past it and you end up eating that white flour in every single packaged food ever.
Yeah.
And like the milk is in like whatever fast food burger you're getting, all of that stuff. Either you push past it and you become like ill or obese, or you're one of those people that's like, I can't have gluten or dairy because I am allergic.
Which is like 4 out of 5 people nowadays.
I don't think that's true that they're allergic, though. I think that would be like maybe 0.0001% of people are actually allergic.
Lex, we're trying to record something here.
But I get it because I was scared of bread.
What are you...
A gagging little dog in my lap.
It's like he's been breathing in like car fumes or something. He's not even like gagging. He's just laying here like coughing. This is probably a byproduct of all the bark he's been eating as well.
Okay.
It's all hung up in his throat. Some people are going to say I'm just the worst animal parent ever. Get away from the milk, dude.
Lux, we gotta cut this out.
We're going to kick all you guys out of here. But I think, honestly, oh, there he goes again. Don't throw up. That's why I keep telling you to stop eating wood, man. There he is. Had to make an appearance. Captain, get away from the raw milk. Captain loves the milk.
I feed them raw kefir sometimes.
But you can't have the milk. This is mine. No, I really think that in all reality, a lot of people's like view on bread or milk or any of those things are just, they're not educated. They don't know, or they've been brainwashed, like most of us have been since we were kids, into thinking that doing this kind of thing on your own, like getting your own milk, if you had your own cow and getting your own milk, like they only used to do that back in like the 1700s. You don't do that anymore. Like it's much safer now. Food's never been safer, and like the factory farm idea. It's like it's been like kind of shoved down people's throats about like doing it on your own is risky, and a lot of that is false propaganda, obviously. But it's like, yeah, you don't want to get your own eggs because you never know if your chickens get the bird flu. And at least if you get it from this farm, like you know what's going on, you know where it came from. Like, yeah, but I don't. But I really don't know where it came from. I don't know what you were feeding those guys. I don't know what kind of health they're in because it came from a farm on the other side of the country. And
Well,
I
look
just,
at
a
what
lot of it,
trusting all of these big corporations has gotten in the world. It's like
it lands,
we've never been more poisoned.
yeah, it lands you in a spot where you go from leaning onto whatever food they're pumping in your stomach, and then it's, oh, I got these problems now. Here's a new pill for you, and this and that. I just honestly think a lot of it has to do with people are misinformed about what they should or shouldn't be eating, where they should be sourcing their food from. Yeah, I really think that's what it is.
Well, now we're going back to ancestral. But I honestly think, though, that's like the main point I wanted to like discuss is like if you could start making sourdough, then you realize like, oh, I can make my own bread. That seems like impossible.
Yeah.
But then once you do it, it's like, oh, then when you hear the news of like, oh, it's actually not healthy to buy conventional flour. You need to mill your own flour from home for all these like benefits.
Yeah.
When you hear that, it's like, oh, well, I'm already making my own bread. It's not like that big of a deal to like now mill my flour, then make the bread. And so like then you can take these baby steps.
Really? Dude.
Whereas like most people, they hear this stuff of like, oh, you need to mill your own flour. Everything needs to be, and they're like, lose their mind of like, some people have to work. How are we supposed to like mill her? Like people, they like get mad and
Well, yeah, if you're already
out.
in a point where like, yeah, you haven't taken any steps at all to do anything for yourself, then yeah, when you hear the news that you gotta mill your own flour, that's a bummer, man. That sucks. It's like, oh, I've been buying my bread from the store forever. I don't make my own. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you. I disagree with it, but you're free to do whatever you want. But yeah, I would definitely understand if I was not a person who was accustomed to how we're doing things, and then randomly I heard that like milk wasn't safe for you at the store, and then like there's some bird flu, and now my eggs are gonna cost me $47 for a dozen. Yeah, that's a doozy, right? That sucks. That ruins your day. That would piss me off too.
But that's what I'm saying. Like the second you start making your own sourdough and getting a farm that has
mill my own flour now. Oh, okay,
it's like not a big deal.
It's
like
part of the process.
And then you go baby steps of like, oh well, we're already making all of this, making bread, making cheese, making everything. Then it's like, oh well, now I want to grow my own food instead of going to the farmer's market. So then we started the garden. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, oh, but I don't want to buy eggs from the grocery store, so let's get some chickens. Then we got the chickens. And then it's like, oh well, I don't want to have this synthetic polyester blankets in our house anymore, so we should get some sheep and I can learn to knit wool blankets. And it's like,
it's a snowball effect.
Exactly. And that's what has happened. And I think it really started with sourdough first, and then the milk was harder for me because I really thought dairy was gross. Remember, even you used to say, everybody said this, and I don't really understand it, how like humans are the only mammals that drink another mammal's milk. Almost everybody uses that as an excuse to not drink milk. And I don't really get the point of that. Like, do you not eat meat? Humans are the only...
No, they're not.
No.
No, they're not.
See, I don't know.
Where were you going with that one?
Yeah.
No, I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know how true that is, because I think that's something a lot of people have heard, like on TV shows or like so, like I think everyone's heard that like statement before. I don't know how true that is. I mean, in the wild, I guess you don't really see like a kangaroo drinking the milk of some buffalo. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not there. Maybe when no one's looking, maybe that does happen. I don't know. But
humans
either way,
are the only
humans are designed
that
differently.
Eat like plastic and cardboard willingly.
That is true.
Or like gray goo slush.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Humans are the only ones that do a lot of things. I would rather eat something that's like a single source, natural creation.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, it was hard for me to get over like the dairy thing because I don't know. I thought it just made you fat. Like, think of like Kraft mac and cheese. You can't be eating that all the time. You get fat because it's like pasta and cheese. But it's
But
not.
it's not.
That's what I'm saying. It's not pasta and it's not cheese.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the point. And then once I realized that, I was like, whoa, I can eat mac and cheese if I make it.
If you make it yourself,
That's
and
amazing.
you're actually making your own pasta.
And it's so good.
Yeah. If you're doing all
I
that.
love it.
Wow.
And I've not ever gained a pound since we started doing this. It's been like 2
Oh, yeah.
years.
You get just, wow, this is a lot. I feel bloated now. I didn't gain any weight at all.
Well, with the homestead thing, I think we should highlight, like, I don't know, I want to hear from you. I love how you mostly do the garden because I think it's like more traditional that like the woman is gardening. I like to admire the garden, but you're actually the one that does the gardening. You're good at it.
Yeah, it's not that hard, but
You just put stuff in the ground.
yeah, it's not that difficult.
People overcomplicate
Oh, this is the other
things.
thing that, okay, this is a whole different side other than, I mean, I guess it's edible, so it's part of the food topic, but it's, like you deal with people that, you got to eat these kind of nutrients, you got to do this, you got to do that. One thing that has frustrated me the most, and it's complete bullshit, is when you go to put plants in the ground, they try to sell you on like a certain kind of like potting mix. You got to put, I mean, we went and bought, what was it last year? We got a bunch of, before we saved all the seeds from all the jalapenos and all that kind of stuff, that one store we went to, that like little small garden store, and like they threw it in for free. We didn't even pay for it. Like all these different baggies and bottles of like, here's this phosphorus you got to put in the soil. If you don't put this in, then your plants aren't going to take root and this and that. It's like, joke's on you, dumbass. 3 months later, I had a basket full of jalapenos. I hate that so much. It's like they almost overcomplicate it in a way. And I'm not saying that the guy down at the hardware store is doing this because he's part of some big conspiracy. I just think this is also like a fake layer that has been added on to discourage people from growing their own food.
Yes.
It's like, well, if you make it seem as if like you have to be a fucking scientist to be able to...
And it's a full-time thing.
Yeah, you got to know chemistry and all this. You got to get the soil conditions right. You got to get the temperature and this much water. And it's like...
And you have to know the seasons. And you have to know that only this plant can be planted in May and only this plant can be planted in July.
Ridiculous.
It's just not true.
It could
not
not be
that
more
hard.
false.
Sometimes,
just walk down the street. You're anywhere where there's a decent amount of trees. Obviously, we're here in the forest. How many times do you see a new tree popping up just from some pine cone that fell out of the tree a year ago? All the time.
Yeah, because nature...
That's how nature
literally
works.
designed it that you don't even have to garden.
But humans have been so, like, at least modern day, like, we've been so...
Control freaks.
Yeah, we've been so, like, brainwashed into believing that, like,
we're the best.
We have everything figured out, like, on this high production level, and it's like conned everyone into thinking like you can't make your own bread.
You can't put a seed in the ground and watch that.
How fucking stupid do you think I am? I can't put a seed in a pot and let it grow and water it, and then put it in the fucking dirt and let it grow and get some vegetables from it. Like, that's how most people view it. Like, I don't know how gardening. It's a full-time. I've heard people that I know personally tell me that recently. Oh, I don't know how you guys did. I show them pictures. I don't know how you guys have time for that. What do you mean? The plant does the work. I just put it in the ground and let it do its thing. It's not that hard.
Well, even like it's also made to be expensive. Of like, you have to buy the like $1,000 greenhouse, and you have to like buy all the things for it.
They're cool. Sure, go for it.
But like, you can actually just save a couple of seeds from the tomato that you bought from the store instead of throwing it away. Dry it out and then put it in the ground.
Yeah.
And like, of course, sometimes they'll grow, sometimes they won't.
Sometimes they don't. That's why you save a lot of them.
More often than not, like, you'll have like the seed that you paid nothing for that you were going to throw away, that becomes food the next season or whatever it's ready.
It's just,
the seed knows when to sprout and not. That's what people are like crazy about, the timing of everything.
Yeah.
Knowing like, I need to be a weatherman. I need to be a scientist. It's like where science is taking over nature. Yeah. Nature was first. Nature's better. Science doesn't know anything. Science is stupid. Don't believe in it.
Yeah. No, it's just, I just think across the board with everything, and like there's people that are doing what we're doing on a grander scale, like what we're pushing towards, obviously. So I'm not saying we're anything special right now. But everything that we're doing across the board at this moment in time, whether it's the garden or the chickens or all the different, the bread and getting everything from the farm and like just being conscious about all that. I just hate how it's spun in a way of like it's so time consuming, it's so difficult. It's not like there's certain times like we had that big storm and like the chicken's coop got just manhandled. And yeah, it sucked. I had to go out there at 10:30 at night and they're getting rained on, make sure they don't get crushed by a tree. There's like little things like that, but you would do that for your poodle as well.
Yeah.
Like it's not that difficult. The garden is going to do what it's going to do. The bread sometimes it doesn't work out.
Oh, yeah.
90% of the time it does, but when it doesn't, it's usually because you did something wrong or
Well,
I did something wrong.
I'm
or,
always like doing like 10,000 things at once, and then things get messed
that's
up.
like I don't know. It just there's a lot. I can go a lot of different directions with this. I could blame it on like the way that the men and women have been like the roles have almost been reversed in a way, or like
Well, yeah,
or like
we
men and
talked
women now
about that,
compete
like,
with
2
each
weeks
other.
ago.
Yeah, with just like the gender roles and everything that has an effect on it. And a lot of it just comes down to like people think that they're so busy, because if you got a dad and a mom that's working and you got kids in daycare, it's easy to make the excuse that the garden isn't feasible. It's like, but you still have time to watch the news every night, or you still have time to watch your TV show, or go hang out with your friends on the weekend and go party every Thursday night. We meet for Thirsty Thursdays or whatever. It's like all that stuff's great. That stuff's fine, whatever. But you can't do that and then simultaneously go like, "Wow, you're crazy. I don't know how you can have chickens, man. That's so time consuming." It's not. It's not. I got up this morning. I went out there. I got their eggs. I let them out. They're out there wandering around, hanging out, doing their thing. I I don't have to touch them. I don't have to go talk to them. Nothing. And then in a couple hours, when it goes to get dark, I walk out there with a bag of dried mealworms or their food or something like that. They all go back in their cage. I lock them up, and they're good to go. It's not that difficult. It really is not. And I'm not saying it to sound naive, because I'm sure. No, I know for a fact that once you go to sheep and goats and you want to get a cow, it does get more involved. Of course, I'm not saying everyone should buy livestock tomorrow.
But that's what I'm saying. It's the baby step. And for like, we did not even plan to get into like farming and all of this. And it's still like all homestead scale.
Yeah.
But we didn't plan for this. We didn't dream of this when we were younger. Maybe you kind of did, but I definitely didn't.
Yeah, not like this. I looked at it more of a different way, more of a.
You thought you might have a job in farming.
Yeah, I actually wanted to like be a dairy farmer.
Yeah, and that's cool how it's like kind of happening maybe.
Yeah, but
one
like
day.
I didn't look at it on the way of like I want to be able to produce my own milk and I want to be able to do it. It's just like, no, it's just a cool job. I want to go hang out with cows and do whatever. It's like
I've never liked animals.
animals are the best.
I've-
Animals are better than most people.
No, I grew up not liking animals at all. Like, I've never been an animal person. But now that I have my dogs, and then now that we have the chickens, it's like, okay, this is amazing. I want more animals.
Yeah.
I actually do like them.
What's
I just
cool-
didn't ever connect with them when I was younger.
Well, what's cool to see with animals across the board, even down to like the little tiny pea brain chickens, it's like every animal has their own personality, and like you can't communicate like a human. So like with humans, you can read this guy is a cool person, this guy is a carefree, this guy's kind of tightly wound, this guy's this, whatever. And you can talk to him and you can gauge them, whatever. Animals, you got to figure it out just by like intuition and watching them, and like just I don't know. It's cool being able to interact with animals in that way. Like all the chickens, they have different. Of course, like one of them a minute ago balancing in the wood box. I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, of course it's you. Of course it's Polly. Of course it's you that's standing here trying to show off how you balance and you're covered in mud again. Perfect. And it's the same thing with the dogs,
Yeah,
It's
but
just-
I think like the actual like huge perspective change like literally started with find a friend or someone who does sourdough and take some of their sourdough starter and just try that.
Yeah.
Like sourdough and then getting raw milk from a farm. The second you do those two things, like I honestly feel like it just
That's a good start. 'Cause-
snowballs into like everything, like a completely different lifestyle and health and beauty and home and
Well, and that stuff's not
everything.
as time consuming because I'm not. Yeah, switching tomorrow and just jumping into, oh, I need to get a massive garden planted. I need to go buy chickens next week. No, literally just start out with
But
literally.
I don't want to give more things, but I think everybody should have like herbs in their windowsill or something. Like grow herbs. Growing herbs is so easy.
But like everything's a snowball effect if it's something you actually want to do. If you're fine to keep going to Costco and loading up on all this stuff, that's fine. Do your thing. But
make some sourdough.
yeah, but if you start with something like that,
It's fun.
you plant, you get a basil plant, a couple other things in your windowsill, and you start to see like, oh wow, I made pasta and it's able to. It's fun. It's cool. It's like, in all reality, it's not any more expensive. It's sometimes arguably cheaper.
I think it is.
Down like long term, it's overall much cheaper. I mean,
And
initially,
we're always looking at the long game.
yeah, of course, you have to. And the other factor is, regardless of the cost of it, is the benefits to your health because of doing it. So if you're really playing the long game and you want to do things correctly, how much do you value your health? It's like, 'cause you can stay paying $5 less a gallon for milk at the store if you want to get this kind. You can get raw milk, not from a farm. You can get raw milk from grocery stores.
Well,
it's not the
not
same
in
quality.
every state.
Yeah, not in every state.
In California, you can.
But like in
the Raw Farm brand at at our food co-op and at Sprouts, it's great. We had that for the longest time before I found the farm.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, that's the best start too.
Of course, we're just kind of addicted to the process of like push for more, better.
What's better than this? What's better than this?
But if you want to start somewhere like that, that's a good place to start. And if it's something that you can notice like physical changes, if you're someone who was very sensitive to dairy or whatever, and you start to implement this into your cooking or whatever it is, you start to notice changes. And like I said, it comes down to essentially how much you value your health. Because like I said, you can spend $5 less on a gallon of milk, or you can spend $5 less on these eggs, or you can whatever, but you're going to pay the price at some point. And whether that's, you end up with you're lactose intolerant, now you got to go see a doctor and they got to pump your stomach and they got to do a scan, you got to do this, and they get you on this weird medication. You're gonna pay for it somewhere. And for some people who don't care, stop listening, no problem, no hard feelings. But to anyone who is curious as to like how to get into it or what kind of started it out, it's just the small things, the little things. Like for you, it was a sourdough and like the milk, something like that. You get a couple herbs in your windowsill. Once you start to reap the rewards of that, it's fulfilling. It makes you feel good and you want to stick with it. And
the second you can eat pizza because you made the sourdough pizza crust and the cheese you made homemade mozzarella from raw milk, and you can eat a whole entire pizza and feel amazing, better than like whatever health food you think you have. Then you're like, oh, this is pretty nice.
Absolutely.
I want to keep doing this. I want to keep feeling this amazing. Why would you deprive and be one of these weirdos that I used to be, just celery juice until you're about to die at like 6 p.m., then eat a mountain of quinoa and then hide in the room.
That's not good for anybody.
That's just not, that is not living. And I was heavier when I did that than I do now. It's crazy. It's just like an obvious choice. But I wanted one last thing to talk about with the homesteading. Yeah, please don't chew the ice. That people will be so annoyed.
This is idiot chewing ice the whole time. I probably already did it a couple times.
I know I'm going to listen back and be like, oh.
Damn it.
Delete. No, one more thing with the homesteading and everything we do. Like everybody would, like you talk to a farmer and they would say, never get into this. Don't, like they just tell you, no, it's so much work. You don't want to get into this industry. And it's like, no. I'm not getting into the farming industry. I'm trying to feed my family.
Yes.
And the same thing happens with, so now you're growing like a vineyard so we can make our own wine, because we like to do that and we like to drink it, but we want to make sure it's completely natural. There's nothing added, because you can partner and meet amazing people in vineyards and winemakers.
Which we have.
There's always still a little question in the back of my mind, like, how are you making this many bottles? Are you sure you didn't you saw too many ants, and what if they sprayed one time? Like, there's just
Yeah.
always like, unless if you do it yourself and take control,
That's
I'm
it.
never gonna feel fully
Yeah,
comfortable
that's
with
it.
it.
And until you are the one with your hands in the process the entire time, you cannot be 100% sure that things are done to
The
the
way
standard
that
that
I
you
would
want.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we went through the whole process. We started with the obvious getting into the wine, and then kind of starting to narrow down like, oh, we don't want this, and learning more about it. Because just I'm personally fascinated with the process. I love it. And just once you start looking more into it, then you want to start filtering out. Oh, maybe we should do this instead, and try to find these places that do things this way and do this way. Until now, it's landed us in a spot where this last year I got grapes from a good friend that has a winery, and I'm in the process. The wine's it's all sitting in a barrel right now, but then from there it's like, okay, now I've made my own wine, but I want to use my own grapes, which I'm not. I'm aware for anyone's like that's gonna take a long time. No shit, I know it's gonna take a whole. That's gonna take
You
several
should
years.
not do it. It's gonna take
No
you
way,
so
it's
many
gonna take
years,
so many
and
years.
then
Obviously, I wouldn't be doing it. But do you think I'm gonna plant this? Come on, guys, and expect to turn a profit next year? But no, the discouraging aspect that some people will hit you with, and this is why like it sucks because like there's certain people that I want to talk to it about and I want to discuss this topic with and want to be like, hey man, I got these vines I'm putting in the ground, I got this and I got this and I'm going to put in these here. I'm excited about it because I spent money on it, I spent time on it, I'm excited about it. This is what I want to do, but I already know 9 out of 10 people that I know it would be met with either it's going to take a long time or you don't want to get into the wine industry, you don't want to get into this, and I can't stress this fact enough. I am not trying to get into the wine industry.
no, and
Just like I'm
we're
not trying to get into
farming
the chicken industry.
or
I'm
the
not
farming
trying to
industry,
open up a roadside
or
stand.
I'm not opening a bakery with my
No.
sourdough bread
I want to make my own wine from my own grapes. That's simple as that.
for our family,
For
you and me.
that's
Yeah.
essentially it. And then if we have
For the homestead.
yeah, if we got just like what we do with the eggs or we do with the bread, if we have a surplus and we want to give it to people that are my parents, your parents, friends, family, whatever, then if I have extra, here you go. But yeah, so I can't stress that fact enough. I'm not trying to get into this as a business. This is what I want to do. Mm-hmm. This is what I enjoy. I want to be able to do everything start to finish myself and have control over what does and doesn't go into the plants when they're in the ground. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
In the bottle. No,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's the biggest thing is like,
the discouraging factor. Oh, you don't want to do that.
yeah. Well, and thinking
Why?
that every single thing you do has to be like your entire life. Like it isn't.
Yeah, you got to make a career out of
Yeah.
it. If like you want to make a change, be like, oh, you know what? I want to start getting some raw milk. Oh, you don't want to do that, man. It's something about your health, or insert something about
Yeah.
the cost of it, or you don't want. It's like I'm not making a personality change here. I'm not committing to this as my career. This is just a change I'm making that I want to essentially do this to maybe feel better, feel more confident that the process was done above board and I'm happy with the output, and instead of putting it in someone else's hands and trusting they did it to my
Yeah.
standards. You can never put any of that in someone else's hands and trust that they're going to do things the way that you want or need them done.
No, I mean, I've worked at a coffee shop before in my life. You just crank them out, and
Yeah.
sometimes it would turn out like something, the machine would get jammed or something, and it would come out like watery, not even
Yeah.
coffee. You just still serve it.
cares,
Don't care. Serve it up. Tap water in the coffee. Like, you
Yeah.
don't care. And that's why I don't like coffee shops at all. Disgusting.
Well,
This matcha is so luxury and amazing because I made it at home. But coffee shops are disgusting. All restaurants, everybody is
It's the same for
cranking
any
things out.
food,
Disgusting.
drink business. It's
So why do people think like, oh, because it's this huge brand, Pepsi, they care about my health. Their brand,
they're
their products,
introducing a new sugar-free version and they use whatever else. Like
they are cranking that out
their
alien
goal is
style,
profits, big dog. That's it.
and they will kill you in the process.
They don't
and they don't
care.
care at all.
They don't
Disgusting.
care, and it goes for any business at all that's doing anything that you consume, anything from your body soap to the clothes you wear, the food you eat. They don't care. It's a business. They're in it for the money. And I mean, it's just, that's how business works. Anyone who's that blind to that, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for you. That sucks. But they don't care. And you can't continue to like rely on that and expect to live a long, healthy life. And this, I mean, God forbid, but I mean, I can get hit by a bus tomorrow. Like,
Yeah.
that can happen to any of us.
Well, that's the
But
biggest
as far
thing
as like living a
people-
quality
Yeah.
life that you are coherent at 75, 80 years old, you're there for your family, you're there for the people, you're there for you, you're there to enjoy life. Who wants to spend the first 60 years of their life eating whatever the hell they want? And, you know, I feel fine, I feel great. And then you get some weird disease that you're definitely going to get at some point, or, you know, whatever. And then you spend the last 20 years or less of your life as a
Burdening.
burden on your
Yeah.
entire family because you chose to not prioritize your health and not care. And I'm sure some people would hear that and
Well, this is
take
the
up issue with what I
main
said.
thing.
But
When people get overwhelmed, like when maybe they see all the things that we're doing, or just people who also do what we do, they're like, "You're all gonna die anyways. Like, why do you
Yeah,
care?"
no way. We're all
But
gonna
it's like
die,
that's
obviously.
the worst excuse, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
The terrible excuse.
if you get overwhelmed, like, how about just try one thing? And my advice would be, I guess the three things I mentioned: either get raw milk, make sourdough, or start planting your own herbs.
So what you don't want to
And
do,
then it could snowball into like a better and better
the
health.
last thing that I think anyone should do, and we've seen it happen many times, is people that wait until they're in a situation where their health is compromised, major or minor, and then that's when they're like, okay, I need to start eating healthy. I remember like seeing this like as a kid, like I would get like the flu when I was like 10 or 12 or whatever, and like not even like I wasn't fully aware obviously of what I was eating, but like you almost felt like your body almost tells you like I need to have like a smoothie. I need to have like the last thing you're thinking of is I need a microwave pizza right now.
Yeah.
Like you're not thinking about any of that. You're just like what would feel nice right now is just a lot of water. I need some warm soup. I need I need some kind of vegetables. I need like your brain naturally goes that way. Just don't be that guy that waits until you're having stomach problems and all this and you're trying to go the pill route and you're trying to go this route. It's like just start with the change right now. Like and you will notice. I'm not sitting here saying if it doesn't work for you, it will work for you.
Yeah.
There's no question about it.
Yeah.
It will. If it doesn't work for you, it's because you didn't get the right stuff.
Yeah. Well,
or
that's
you're
the biggest
lying.
thing. People will be like, "Oh, I make sourdough," and it's still like I still felt like I gained weight. But it's
'cause you're
what
eating
flour?
General Mills flour.
Yeah, it's like there's always something that like maybe you didn't
There's
do
a
it
factor
right.
that it's just like
It's
okay.
not because you made your own sourdough and it didn't make a difference. It's because every ingredient matters, and you have to
Yeah,
really
but
pay attention to the
I used to
sourcing.
grow, we've all seen it. You know, you want to have pizza night at home. We're gonna make our own pizzas. It's like, yeah, but it's with Winco pizza
Yeah.
dough, and it's with like
That's not making your own pizza.
Prego,
Yeah,
whatever
that
pizza
does
sauce.
not count.
It's like that. That doesn't count. I guess you put the pieces of the puzzle together, but like it's basically a frozen pizza at that point. Like
Yeah.
you're not doing anything different.
Yeah.
You're doing the same thing Mountain Mike's did down the street. And, if you're happy with that, that's fine. It's, it's good. We enjoyed those times. It was fun making pizzas with your family. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
But I
It's
think
just
it's
like-
time. There's too much information out there, and there's too many sick people.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone in the world that has not been affected by like crazy, like someone very young dying, and they're like, how? They're so young and they're so healthy. Well, they're not healthy because this world is very unhealthy. And I think there's many things we did when we were younger, but there's way too much information where
way too
there's
many.
nobody that is this out of touch where they really don't know that like this is a huge factor that you have to pay attention to.
Yeah. No, there's way too many resources, way too many. I mean, the amount of information that's out there. Literally open a book, hop on Spotify, the first podcast you see. I mean, the information is everywhere.
And to choose to ignore it
And
until
just- and
you're
put your-
in a dangerous spot
Yeah.
is completely like
Well, what's crazy to me
Crazy.
is, among many things, is the people that choose to deny that, and they're just like, oh, it's, hogwash. I'm not going to, that's too much money. It's too much. I don't have that kind of time. You're just putting your health in the hands of the FDA and all those guys because you're choosing to ignore to educate yourself on anything. You continue eating whatever you want because obviously for some reason I see it a lot with geezers mainly, old folks that, it's like, not old folks, but, people, our parents' age and older that were raised a different way. We're like, at least in their timeline, it makes sense to trust that this food would not be on the shelf in this 7-Eleven if it was not healthy to eat. And it's the same thing. Like you talk to these people about McDonald's. They're like, yeah, obviously McDonald's is bad for you. I was like, okay, well, can you tell me what's bad? Oh, it's just super salty. There's a lot of sodiums. It's like, no, it's because it's not food. It's not
yes.
food. It's dog. It's not even dog food. I wouldn't give it to an iguana, man.
Yeah.
It's terrible. And it's just, like their view on it is like, yeah, you just don't have it all the time. And
I despise
like
that.
You're eating just
so you would literally eat. So that's like.
But so you go through that whole process where you just continue, Panda Express, so you got to change it up. Don't have it every day. You go there and then you make yourself a sandwich with stuff you got from Walmart. And then, you do this all week long, all year long. You do this over and over. And then when your health is compromised at 40, 50 years old, then you go to your doctor and you got to get on these weight loss pills. You got to get on, I got high blood pressure, I got high cholesterol, I got this, I got that. And you're on, you got one of those things that all the old folks home have where it's like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there's a pill box right there. And you're just popping all these pills and you're doing that to like try to hang on to the last little bit of health you have. And then you're just, you're miserable. You feel terrible and you unfortunately end up, passing away too soon, sooner than you had to. And the amount of times, I'm not the only one. Everyone's seen that happen so many times. It's like, how did this happen? Oh, she passed away at 58. That's crazy. It's like, that shouldn't be an issue. I understand freak things happen, but what you put into your body is the easiest thing to control.
Yeah.
And I just think getting back to the homesteading topic, I think that has a huge effect on helping us make decisions about what we choose to eat or what we choose not to eat. And for most people that will settle for what I was just talking about, just the convenience aspect of it, you can continue down that road. It's a you're free to do whatever you want. But I think if people just start with the simple things, put a basil plant in your windowsill, get some raw milk from this, just go out one day when you go to the grocery store, go to a different grocery store and try to find some raw milk and maybe try to, just make something from scratch and just, you can feel the difference immediately. Like, even though I've never had any like stomach issues like that, I can tell you right now the difference. If I went to even a good pizza place that's doing brick oven pizza, and I can tell you the difference. I can feel the difference versus if we make a pizza here.
Yeah.
And even though they're using all local ingredients and this and that,
they're still cranking it out.
Yeah,
and there's still certain elements in each pizza that like you just have no control over.
Yeah, it's like, they might be getting everything else locally, but their flour might have.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It could have been sitting in a tub in their refrigerator.
Dead food.
For
and
6 months.
Even if you have like 80% of the food is good, but you have like 10%, 20% dead ingredients, you're still consuming dead ingredients.
Yeah.
Dead food. It's
dead
not
energy.
Real. Yeah, it's going to affect you. It's literally very obvious. There's two options. Like, ignore it, pretend it's not real, and pretend everybody who talks about, like, moving outside of the system and really having control over what they consume.
Yeah.
Like, call them crazy, and then you deal with the consequences later, or snap out of it and just take a little baby step. And it's a snowball. Either way, it's a snowball into just deterioration or snowball into like, whoa, now I'm doing this. Now I'm doing this. Yeah. Wow, now I feel amazing. Wow, that problem I used to have, it's gone. Like, It's a snowball both ways. You just have to choose which path you want to go down.
There's just little things that change. Maybe you're one of those people that notice like, oh, every year I used to get like 2 like colds a year. I'd get like the sniffles. Now I'm not. Like, just noticing little things like that encourage you to keep going down that road. And I don't know. I just think it's simpler than it's made out to be a lot of the time.
And it's like people are always like, the more, it's just so many things, it's so stressful. The more you actually create a homestead, it's so stress relieving. Like to go out in the
Yeah.
morning, watch the chickens go around, look at the flowers, look at the plants. Like it is so like nervous system ease. Birds come to your house now because you have like the flowers.
Yeah.
Like it's the opposite of what people will tell you.
Oh, it's a traffic jam out there. The amount of times I go walking into the garden and a bee runs a red light, bounces off my forehead. Oh shit, my bad, dude. It's just
But it's completely the way.
it's relaxing.
It's the way we're supposed to live. But people will lie and say like, it's so much. It's so stressful. I'm gonna like have a panic attack. It's like, no, you're having a panic attack because you're in a sterile, alien environment. You have no nature anywhere.
Yeah, you're already cruising at 75, my friend.
Yeah, it's
So yeah, as soon as
amazing.
the littlest inconvenience happened, you're at 100. But I don't know.
Feet in the earth.
I just couldn't disagree more with the notion that the raw milk one is the one that gets me. That for some
That
reason,
it's unsafe.
Yeah, people believe it's unsafe for human consumption. It's wild to me.
Well, I never heard that until, like, because I never, ever had milk since I was, like, even before teens. My teenage and early 20s, I always had almond milk, which is so crazy.
Show me the tits on an almond.
I always
That
had,
stuff is not
and
good
then I
for you.
moved to oat milk, which is worse. It's horrible for you, by the way. Look at the ingredient list, and also the almonds are sprayed with glyphosate. And anyways,
Oh yeah.
best case, make it yourself with organic almonds. But anyways, I never ever had milk, and so the second I heard this conversation of raw milk, in my mind, using logic, well, I was like, well, obviously I know a farm fresh milk is healthier than a store shelf milk.
Yeah, but
That
you
seems
didn't-
logical.
You didn't make the connection of like,
That people are freaking out over raw milk. You're going to die. And raw milk
Yeah.
means it was just like from a little gorgeous farm. They had the milk right there
yeah,
versus the factory farm, mass produced on the store shelves
yeah,
milk. Like use logical reasoning.
yeah.
Is that the right way to say it? You guys, it's so obvious. And so then when I heard that, I was like, well, if they're saying there's all these benefits, maybe I should try out having dairy again. And I felt, obviously, if you never have it, you have to ease into it. So,
It goes
like
for anything.
Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
said,
yeah.
I just started cooking with it. Like I added it. I didn't like start
Yeah.
drinking glasses. Even you're drinking that glass.
I've always drank milk. Though.
I
I've
don't.
always
I
liked
still
milk.
don't drink a glass of raw milk because it's just not something that I've ever done. But I started like adding it into soups or adding it into recipes when I normally would use coconut milk or nothing. And then I started making matcha with half coconut milk, half raw milk. And like then all of a sudden now I can drink a whole glass of like
What, dude?
chocolate. I put cocoa powder and make a hot chocolate with just a whole big mug of raw milk.
Yeah,
And it's never hurt my stomach.
no problems at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's never gained me weight. It's never made me gain weight. It's never gave me acne. A lot of people say it gives acne.
yeah. I've heard that one too.
I think it's cleared my
Yeah.
skin better.
Yeah, because it's natural. I mean, I don't advise drinking an entire gallon of it if you get your hands on it.
Some people do that.
Immediately?
Some people do like a raw milk fast. I've heard all these extremes.
I mean, I'm not telling you not to. There's a lot worse things you can do.
I know, but
telling
I'm
you
not
to.
into the extremes.
But I'm saying if you're someone who doesn't really have milk, like if you're someone
like me, I
who is
didn't
like a
have
lactose intolerant
I didn't
kind of
have
person, I wouldn't
dairy
be like,
for like 5
oh,
years.
there's raw milk. Let me try this. Let me see if this works. Yeah, they're gonna have to pump your stomach, dude. You shouldn't. Have
It's the people.
You gotta ease into it.
The literal people they'll hear this conversation and be like, "Oh, they said it's healthy, so let me just
Yeah.
drink a whole gallon,"
Yeah.
and then blame the people that they heard. I'm not into the extremes on anything.
No, you can't. You can't do that. Yeah, no, that's a whole different. I can go into the people that lean into the extremes of everything, like they hear
Full
that-
carnivore diet.
Yeah, it's like oh,
nothing else.
I heard that. Yeah, this.
Red meat's actually good for you, so now we
Yeah.
eat only red
Now
meat.
I only eat. I don't eat grains. I don't eat nothing. It's just meat. That's it.
Probably
To each their own, man. To each their own.
not, I guess, the worst thing, but probably not right for your whole life.
I don't have to agree with it. Do whatever you want to do. Everybody's body's different, so
Yeah.
I will say that to get myself out of that pickle right there.
Try to
What works for you
tap
might not
in
work for me.
and feel, because once you get the ingredients really well, you could feel. Like even last, I think we should wrap it up. But last thing, we made salsa. You've always made salsa, like always. But for the longest time, you would use like canned diced tomatoes.
Yes.
And still the only ingredient really is tomatoes in those. But we started eating it, and it was like 5 times in a row where you would make it, and we would just be like, it's just like something's not
missing.
great about it. And I always would watch you make it and be like, I hate buying like the cans because I never buy packaged stuff anymore. And then today we just made it, no package. We just roasted actual tomatoes, roasted actual peppers, and cilantro, lime, blended that up, and that's what was missing. It's really
fantastic.
good.
Yeah.
Now it's right. So.
Good looks.
Cheers to sourdough and raw milk as the gateway to homesteading and the healthiest, most vital life.
Yes.